Welcome back to Mojave KY. Thank you guys so much for joining. So in today's video, as I mentioned in the last one, here is my review of the Lupwee boots. All right, so the categories that I am going to review is going to be the price, slash value of the boot, the weight of the boots, style of the boots, durability, the warmth, the shock absorption, which they claim, the anti-skid, which is also something that they claim, the comfort, and then the overall value, overall review. So I'll try to give each category that I mentioned 1 through 10, 10 being best, and let you know what I think of these boots after having them for about a week. And I did take these boots up to the mountains and into some snow, and then it ended up raining in Southern California, so I was able to kind of play around with them here in my hometown in the rain. All right, so starting off with price and value. $40 to $54 is what these run on Amazon. There is a link down below. And just before I get too far into this review, Lupwee is paying me for the review. They didn't tell me to say anything specific, and I could give my real feedback, which is what you're gonna get in this video. But I think for $40 to $54 for this, it's a pretty decent value. I'll get into kind of the other features, but just in general, I think that that price point is pretty inexpensive. The last pair of boots that I bought for myself were close to $200. I wouldn't say these are up to that level of boot, but that is a good value for this. So I'd give it, from a price standpoint, I'd give it probably an 8 to an 8.5. So if you were hiking around, just walking around, sometimes boots in terms of their weight can be kind of a pain, right? Somewhat exhausting after a long period of time. This boot is really light. I don't know if you can kind of tell from here, but this boot's really light, and that's a good thing. I didn't feel almost any different than having my running shoes on, except for that they're taller, obviously. And a bit stiffer than my running shoes, but in general, weight was really good. I'd give weight a 9. All right, so in style, this is highly subjective, but I like the style of the boot. I think it's a handsome boot, good looking. The stitching looks good, the leather is good. Even this faux material to me kind of has a nice style look to it for sure. So from my perspective, and again, this is very subjective, I understand, I'd give these a solid 8. So durability is next. Durability is a hard one, only because I only had these for a few weeks. If I was gonna say how durable I thought they were, I guess it would depend on how much you were going to use them. So if you were gonna look at this as an everyday hike, taking lots of hikes in this boot, I don't know how long this boot would probably go. If you're using this as like more of a shoe than a hiking boot, I think you'd get decent durability out of it. I'm just saying, I think if you beat on this one pretty hard, it may not hold up as long as you think. But I think if you're wearing this as a boot, which I think honestly, most people are gonna just wear this as just a boot, go out, go get food, go to the grocery store, do your errands or something like that, I think it'd do well. So from an everyday boot, I'd say probably an 8. If you're gonna beat it up a lot, my guess, and again, this is just a guess because I've only had this a week, probably be a 6. All right, so the next category is warmth. These boots are warm. Took these up to the mountains, somewhere between 17 degrees and like 40 degrees was the temperature when we were up there, around 9,000 feet. And these kept your feet warm. So definitely good on warm. The faux fur on the inside, it's layered all the way through the boot, as I mentioned in the previous video, is comfortable and warm. Definitely one of, I think, the better features of this boot. I give the warmth a solid 8 as well. So shock absorption is something that they talked about. I mean, there's a pretty decent size sole here, which should help in terms of general just shock absorption. I'm not really sure how to rate that. I jumped around in them and tried to generally, put my weight and kind of smash down on these and see what I thought. I thought they did as well as other shoes. I just don't know how to kind of measure the shock absorption. So I'd say they did as well as any of the other shoes, including my more expensive boots. So probably give this like a 7. So they also claim anti-skid. It did rain here, and I did try to get these guys, I kind of did some little running starts and try to get these guys to break loose. At least for the, I can't say over time, but at least for right out of the box, using them in the wet, they had decent anti-skid. They did a decent job of stopping. In the snow, I thought they did really well. It's a pretty good tread on the bottom of these. And in the snow, I thought they did well. In the ice, not really. Ice is really tough and very specific to the kind of shoe. So if you're going in ice, yeah, I mean, you gotta be careful what kind of shoe you gotta do. You gotta be careful on ice, obviously. But from an anti-skid, I think it's fair to say that these definitely have some anti-skid capabilities, and I would give these guys another solid 8. All right, so overall comfort, right? How comfortable are these boots? How comfortable would these boots be to wear all day? I'm probably a hard one because my feet generally hurt. I looked around for shoes that I think will work well for me. I have plantar fasciitis on one of my feet right now, and I've continued to do my Peloton runs on it anyway. So my feet generally hurt a bit. They generally, I think from this boot, if I had to wear it, I would need to have an insole put in this. It doesn't have an insole. It is literally this fur all the way through. The bottom is soft. You can feel that there's a softness underneath it, but it wasn't enough for me. I would have to have an insole to make these comfortable to wear all day. Would I hike in these all day without an insole? No. With an insole, if it was a relatively, light hike, if I was gonna beat on something, I'd probably want something more comfortable for my foot. This could be perfectly fine for yours. I'm just saying for me, absolutely should have an insole in these. I would get that straight away if I got these. Again, these are $40 to $50 boots, so you have to keep that in mind. Putting an insole in for $10 to $20 will make this boot a tremendous amount better, right? I pulled out the insoles from my Danner boots and I put them in these, and it significantly enhanced these boots. I'd say without them, generally, I would say that comfort-wise for me, these were probably a 5. With them, comfort-wise for me, with the insoles was probably a 7. I've never had a 10 since my feet have been so jacked up lately. So even a 7 I would generally consider pretty good. All right, so that is my review of the Lupwee boots. Again, I think they have a lot of nice features for the price. You just have to keep in mind the value proposition on a boot like this versus some like high-end Danners that I have. I have some Sorels as well, right? Those are in a totally different price range and I have different expectations of them. For this boot, I think overall with all of the different features and stuff, it's probably a decent 7. The comfort piece is a huge knock on these without an insole, but I'll find an insole that I like and I'll put that down in the description as well. that you could add to this. And I think that combination of the two will really make this boot shine. Plus you have 30 days to, you know, make sure these fit and make sure they have some comfort, you know, insole or not insole. And then you can return them still. So that's a nice policy, having 30 days, right? I don't think they would support you guys, you know, going on a giant hike and really beating them out and then deciding you didn't like them. But trying them on, walking around in them, seeing the fit, making sure that you got the right size, I absolutely think that they would support that. And if you needed a different size or this boot just wasn't for you, then that 30-day return policy is nice to have. Don't forget, you also have a 2-year warranty with this boot. So that should tell you something about what they think and how long they think the boot will last. That's a decent one on a $40 to $50 boot. So I'm impressed that they're willing to back them up. And you know, you get a pretty nice, what I would consider kind of a daily walking around boot. I know they're highlighting hiking. I think hiking is more of the style that this boot's going with, rather than, you know, this being like your serious everyday or, you know, hard weekend hiking boot. All right, so thank you so much to Lupwee for sending me this boot and giving us a little money for the channel to support us. We really appreciate that. We look forward to other opportunities, hopefully with these guys, as well as some of the other people who have been supporting the channel lately. So have a good one. Appreciate you all stopping in and seeing the video. Until the next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Peace.